Hey, what's up guys? Paul James here, and in a few minutes I'm going to do a presentation back there for you on that notepad, and I have some teaching for you that I want to just bring some extra value to you. But I figured before we do that, a lot of people are really interested in the setup behind the scenes and just kind of how I live everyday life. So I just figured I'd give you kind of a quick tour of my basement, and this is where I just kind of hang out and stuff like that. So this room that you're looking at right now, I'll flip the camera around so you can see. So right here, this is actually like my library technically, but I think I'm going to start using it just to shoot videos and stuff like that. I don't know, it just seems more practical for me. I don't really have that many books. And most of the books I do have are like laying in my office upstairs. So yeah, over here you can see we got a couple TVs set up. I got one over there, an Xbox, and then one behind me over there. I got two Xboxes over there. So, I have friends and family over and we play some Black Ops 3, shoot zombies and stuff like that. That's always a lot of fun. So it's kind of cool to have some multiple systems set up. I'm going to crank some lights on in here. This is my movie theater room actually. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, that's, we're going to put a row of seating up there. I haven't gotten it yet. This is a fairly new house that I just moved into, but that's what I'm going to do. And then the projection screen is going to go behind me there. You can see it's actually already got the mount up here. So we need to put a projector up there and got a built-in stand for the component. So I don't know, kind of cool. Haven't had time to do it because I've been so busy working, but I plan on it. This is my music room. A little bit messy, but you can see my drums back there. I've got the guitar amp and all kinds of cool stuff. This is the hangout spot. I mostly use this for working out though, to be honest. But yeah, I've got the little bar area with the stove and stuff, and then just mainly my workout equipment. But eventually put a pool table and air hockey table and stuff in here. And just be a cool place to hang out. But anyways, figure we start off the video like that, more personable, just kind of bring you into my life, my world. Before we jump into the good stuff, the teaching, because that's what we're going to do. So let me just flip the camera up here. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right. So let me grab some markers here and let's just do some illustrations, some teaching, see if we can bring some more value to you today. And hopefully you'll leave this video learning something really, really cool. So when I first started off, one of the most challenging things for me with making money anyways, being that I was starting a new internet business and I wanted to go full-time, was actually getting clients because I had long hair at the time. I was in a band, so I showed you my band room. And, wearing skinny jeans and stuff like that. Not really a big deal, but I just didn't think that business owners would take me serious. And that's what really made me a lot of money at first, was working with local business owners, and I still make a lot of money with that. And that's why I teach so much about it, because it just really is my bread and butter. There's just nothing better than waking up and refreshing your email inbox to these $500 and $1,000 payments every day from work that you did one time a long time ago, and then you just keep getting paid for it. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. And I'll show you how I did this without having to meet face to face with business owners, because like I said, back then I just didn't foresee them taking me serious. Now I really could care less, but back then, and you might feel that way too, maybe you just don't want to meet with business owners. So let me just kind of break down how I do this. So I do what's called lead gen. I do client SEO too, which would be like actually working with a client. But when I first started, I pretty much strictly did lead gen. Now, lead generation is exactly what it sounds like. Rather than trying to sell text message marketing or reputation marketing or SEO, you simply just sell leads or phone calls. And you can either sell them on a per lead basis, or you can rent your asset, your digital property that you build out, and just rent it for a $500 or $1,000 a month fee. And then however many leads they get off of that, that's what they get. So that's kind of the route I chose to go in the long run, was just lease them that asset. And whether they got 30 leads or 60 leads, they still paid me the same amount. So that's just what I prefer, because I had dependable income coming in, and that's just kind of my preferred route. So you can decide on what you want to do. Now here's where I did things a little bit differently than most people do. Being that I was new when I first started off, I didn't know a whole lot about SEO. Backlinks and stuff like that were kind of confusing to me. I didn't really know how to do web design. I still don't really, to be honest. I can put together WordPress sites and stuff like that and using templates, and that's really all you need to do. So what I like to focus on is what's called maps. And a lot of you already know this, but just in case you don't, maps are these little box of listings that pop up, and there's 3 of them. They pop up here right within regular Google results. So this is Google, and someone does a search, and 3 companies pop up in this little box of listings, and then below it are just, your regular listings like you're used to seeing, and then there's ads over here usually, right? So what I do is I get my listings, my properties, over here in this pack of listings. So in order to do that, and here's the reason why I do that, is because you're not competing with everyone down here. This is no longer competition for you. You're only competing with people up here. And because you're only competing with people up here, you're only competing against business owners, because you have to actually have a real business to show up here. At least that's what Google wants. So by real business, I mean, you have to have like a physical location is what they want to see. So that eliminates so much of our competition, and now we're competing against just local business owners. So hopefully this is starting to make sense of why I chose this area, being someone who is really new. So if you're new and you're thinking like, hey, Paul, this sounds great, getting these $500 and $1,000 payments in my inbox, that sounds great, but I don't know how to do any of this stuff, then this is why you need to pay attention, because you really don't need to know a whole lot. There's not a lot of components when it comes to ranking here compared to doing anything else. I mean, anyone can really do it. So maps listings. You got to visit a URL called google.com/business in order to get your own maps listing. But like I said, you need a physical address. So how do you do that? So what I like to do is I like to head to Google and search for mailbox rental city. So if I'm looking for a mailbox in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I would search for mailbox rental Milwaukee. Could even put on the Wisconsin. I look for little directory sites from that point, like yellowpages.com, and I look for a place that'll rent mailboxes. Now, typical places that you'll see that'll do this are like laundromats, storage units. They do it just as a way to make extra money, and you'd be surprised at how much this costs. Typically, I pay $30 every 6 months. So what's 6 MO? To rent a mailbox. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a really, really cheap cost of doing business, so that I can show up here and not have any competitors. Okay, so now we've got the address thing taken care of. You know how to do that. But let's talk about the actual business name, because these are businesses that are showing up here. So you're going to have like Bob's Plumbing. You're going to have, all these different companies' names. How do you do that? So because we're going to be selling leads or leasing this asset, we can't put a specific company name, because if we're working with Harry's Plumbing and our listing is under Bob's Plumbing, well, the customer is going to be really confused when they're calling Bob's Plumbing and Harry answers the phone. So what you need to do is you need to come up with something generic. So I like to use words that are very, very generic that could fit for anything. Like the word reliable is a really good one. So I might call myself Reliable Plumbing. So let me illustrate how this works. Customer calls, let's just put a little smiley face. Customer calls Reliable Plumbing from this listing over here. Now you own Reliable Plumbing's listing. It's just a made up name that you made up with an address that you rented. And Reliable Plumbing, instead of you answering, automatically forwards to your client, Bob. Okay, I'll talk to you about how you get Bob as your client in a minute. So what happens here is you have what's called a tracking phone number. So I'll just put track number. You have a tracking phone number, and that number is set up on autopilot to automatically forward anyone who calls it right over to your client, Bob. So you don't have to answer the phone. You don't have to talk to anyone. It just forwards automatically. So this is what I started doing. And here's how I got Bob as my client. I would go to like classified ad sites, like I still do this all the time, but especially when I first started, I would go to classified ad sites like Craigslist, and I would search for, plumbers who were posting ads on there all the time. So, you'd see these different ads like, if your sewer is backed up, give us a call. And I would look for their phone numbers. And what I would do is after I got this reliable listing ranked over here, right up here, after I got it ranked and it was getting calls, usually we see about 30 to 50 calls come in per month, just on average, I would automatically forward my tracking phone number to Bob. Okay, so if Bob was advertising on Craigslist, I'd pull his number off of Craigslist, automatically forward it to him without telling him. So he doesn't know that I'm doing this at this point. I just do it. Now, this is the cool part. And to get a tracking phone number, you can use any service you want. CallFire is a really popular one, or Twilio is another popular one. Analytic call tracking, that's a popular one. Doesn't matter which one you use, but they run you about $1 per month to rent the phone numbers. So very, very inexpensive. They have this feature on CallFire and Twilio and all these services called a whisper feature. And what it does is it allows you to tag on a specific message at the beginning of the call before transferring it to Bob. So customer calls, Bob picks up the phone and says hello, and before he's transferred to the customer, it says a message at the beginning. Now here's what I did with that message. I said, "This lead has been provided to you by Paul James." So Bob hears that and then is connected to the client. Client really doesn't care who answers the phone at this point. You know, if he answers Bob's Plumbing, it's still they're like, oh, Reliable Plumbing. It sounds generic enough, whatever, I need a plumber, right? They're not paying too much attention because this really just sounds like a reliable plumbing company. It doesn't really sound like any specific company name, which is key, why you've got to pick out a good company name when you do this. So Bob, on the other hand, is starting to feel like, okay, who is this Paul James guy who's been sending me leads? So I send him like 4 good leads. And then I reach out to him, either via email or phone, however you want to do it. And I just say, hey, this is Paul James. I'm the guy that's been sending you the leads. We have a lot more to send you. Would you like them to continue? This is how much. And I tell him how much. And this can be anywhere from $30 to $50 a call if you want to go that route, depending on the niche. I mean, if you're working with like someone higher end, you know, that's willing to pay more, you can go all the way up to like $300 a call. But if you're working with like a contractor, you know, $30 to $50 is a ballpark range of where you would want to stick with. So $30 to $50 per call, you know, multiply that times 30 calls per month, 50 calls per month, you've got a pretty nice income coming in. Or you can just do the flat rate, $500 to $1,000 per month, all right? So this is how I did it. Now, the reason why I'm shooting this video is because I have a whole training course built around all of this that I'm showing you here. And it expires in less than 24 hours, which is why I'm sending you this video right now. I close it up for several months before I let people in the door again because it's a mastermind community as well, which means it takes a lot of my involvement and I can't let a bunch of people in at once. So within the next 24 hours, this is closing, and I'm going to leave a link below the video so that you can hop inside and I can teach you this entire thing, the entire plan. I walk you step by step, nothing left out, beginner friendly, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. And it's an awesome deal. You won't see this kind of deal around again because when I open the doors again, I raise the price again, and because the demand is higher. So check it out below this video. I hope that you enjoyed this content-packed video. I enjoy doing these types of things, so I hope that you enjoy watching them. And thanks again for being a valued subscriber. I really appreciate it. We'll talk soon.